greenlight.com today.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Lowe's knows July 4th savings are worth celebrating. Get up to 40% off select major appliances and get an additional 10% off 2 or more select major appliances. Hurry, these July 4th deals won't last long. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/9. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Visit your nearby Lowe's on South Quarry Bend Drive in Sandy.
Welcome to the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network. Now get ready for Strange Things with Joshua P. Warren.
They just said standing up or sideways.
Welcome to our podcast. Please be aware the thoughts and opinions expressed by the host are their thoughts and opinions only and do not reflect those of iHeartMedia, iHeartRadio, Coast to Coast AM, employees of Premier Networks, or their sponsors and associates. We would like to encourage you to do your own research and discover the subject matter for yourself.
We got cold water down here.
Get ready to be amazed by the Wizard of Weird. This is Strange Things with Joshua P. Warren.
I am Joshua P. Warren, and each week on this show, I'll be bringing you brand new, mind-blowing content, news, exercises, and weird experiments you can do at home, and a lot more. On this edition of the show, my scariest experiences. You know, I have to confess something to you. You know, your old pal here, the great and terrible Joshua P. Warren, sometimes just gets kind of worn out talking about deep philosophy and quantum physics and all that kind of thing. I mean, look, recently, what have I talked about? Oh, I opened the other dimension. I did a show about the Schumann resonance, scientific truths in the Bible, who killed JFK, the Tepathon. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to do like a simpler kind of show. And hopefully you'll enjoy that as well. It's more like we're just kind of sitting around next to the campfire. One of the reasons that I say that is that, you know, I live here in Las Vegas, and it's international. And whenever there's a bug going around, well, I'm very likely to get it because one of the things I like to do, of course, is I'll go out to these casinos. You know, I'm not as big of a gambler as you might think. I'll put $20 in, maybe 100, and that's all you need if you know what you're doing. Sit there and gamble for a while, get some free drinks. But the problem is you're touching everything. You're constantly touching these slot machines. And, you know, if you're not careful, then you'll get a cold. And so I got a little bit of a cold now. And it's funny when you are in my position and you have a podcast and you say you have a medical issue at all, like, oh, I got a cold. All these people will contact you and give you advice on what to do. But you have to understand, this is not live radio. This is a recorded podcast. So I usually record these shows 2 or 3 weeks before you hear them. So by the time you've heard this, the cold is already over. So there's no need to send me your well wishes or your recommendations. You know, that's just part of life. I mean, you gotta get colds once in a while, and it makes you a stronger person. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take it easy for this show. I don't know if it's going to be a good show or not. You might think it's a terrible show. You might think it's super boring. But people ask me all the time. They say, Joshua, you have been investigating the paranormal for over 30 years professionally. What are some of your scariest experiences? And so once in a while, I'm like, well, you know, let me just go ahead and sit down and tell you about some of my scariest experiences. By the way, before I get into this, I recently did a show about who killed JFK. That got quite a reaction. Let's see, that was episode 239 called "Here's Who Killed JFK." A lot of people really enjoyed that show, and I just want to mention real quick here that anybody in history who wants to be the president of a country is kind of insane, because normal people don't want to do that. Normal people do not want to be in charge of a country. And our founders here in the U.S., they knew that. And so that's why they put checks, balances, and all that kind of stuff in there to try to
long as it's dry,
to try to rectify the insanity of the egos that get involved with politics.
Just get in there
and I've talked a little bit about, I don't usually get into politics on this show, but I have said before that I think that
be safe.
That's an inherent flaw in the political system, that normal, sensible, logical people don't want to get involved in that. So we end up with leaders, in many cases, who are kind of out there. And look, I'm an independent. I have my entire life, I've always been registered as an independent, and I have voted for every party you can imagine, locally and nationally. So I'm not here to say anything in particular about a politician, but I just think in general, people who want to go into politics, they obviously think about life differently than we do. All right, my scariest experiences. Well, what's funny is that when I meet somebody, and occasionally, believe it or not, so many people listen to this show that sometimes I'll be at a restaurant or something, and someone will recognize my voice, and sometimes they confuse me with another person, But anyway, they say, "Are you?" And so then they start telling me like, "Oh, I bet your life has been amazing. Tell me about some scary things that have happened."
All right, got a friend.
And I think they're expecting me to say that I have conjured up a demon or something like that. This horrific demon has appeared. And you know what? The truth is, I tried that. I made a documentary years ago called Inside the Church of Satan. And I was the first person who was allowed to go inside the Church of Satan in many, many years. And I'm not even certain right now how you can see that movie. But in that documentary, I did a bona fide ritual, and I tried to conjure up the devil himself or something similar. And I can tell you that I have never seen a demon with my physical eyes. It's possible, if you want to get psychic about this, that I've seen it with my third eye. Sometimes, I believe this. There's certain things that you can see spiritually with your third eye that you don't see with your physical eyes. So, I can sit here and tell you stories like that, but I want to be practical here. And the fact of the matter is, I have never directly, with my own two eyes, I've never seen a demon, like a little monstrous creature with horns. I've never seen an alien. I have seen ghosts with physical eyes. So, that's a different story, because, I even took a photograph of what I consider a ghost, a ghostly mist. So, ghosts are different. Ghosts are things that I really get to witness them. When I was in Puerto Rico, I used to hang out with all these old salty fishermen, and they said that sometimes you get lucky when you were out there on the ocean at dusk, and if you just were gazing in the right direction at the right moment, you'd see the green flash, some kind of weird atmospheric phenomenon. The sun is going down, and then boom, there's a flash of green. And I was out there frequently looking for that green flash, and I never saw it. But it's real. It's a true thing. Finally, you can look it up for yourself online. Somebody went out and photographed the green flash. So, there are things that are real visual things you can experience that are very, very rare. Just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it's not real. And so it's rare to see a ghost. You got to look really hard for them all the time. So I've seen ghosts. But the funny thing is, I'm going to surprise you probably, because when we come back from our break, I'm going to tell you about some of the truly scariest experiences that I have had. And most of them are mundane and things that you can relate to. I'm not talking about some kind of craziness. I'm talking about things that are very, very practical and real. You'll see what I mean. I do this show because that you support it. And so it's a free show. If you want me to keep doing it, then all you have to do is go to joshuapwarren.com and click the link to the Curiosity Shop there. Even if you don't buy something, just look at the cool stuff there and consider buying something down the road for yourself or a loved one. But one thing that doesn't cost you a penny is going to the homepage there and signing up for my free and spam-free e-newsletter. It takes you 2 seconds. You just put your email address in there and hit submit. When you do that, you will instantly receive an automated email from me with some free online gifts that can help make your life much better. I'm Joshua P. Warren, and you're listening to Strange Things on the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network, and I will be right back.
Malcolm Gladwell here. I recently recorded the first episode of Smart Talks with IBM, where I learned how AI agents are joining AI assistants as a major productivity tool. Let's start with AI agents. AI agents can reason, plan, and collaborate with other AI tools to autonomously perform tasks for a user. Brian Bissell, an expert from IBM, gave me an example of how a college freshman might use an AI agent.
As a new student, you may not know, how do I deal with my health and wellness issue? How many credits am I going to get for this given class? You could talk to someone and find out some of that, but maybe it's a little bit sensitive and you don't want to do that.
Bissell told me, you could build an AI agent, a resource for new students that helps them navigate a new campus, register for classes, access the services they need, and even schedule appointments on their behalf, which in turn buys them more time to focus on their actual schoolwork.
We can see patterns of how agents and assistants can help employees and customers and end users be more productive, automate workflows so they're not doing certain types of repetitive work over and over again, and streamlining their lives and making data more accessible to them 24 hours a day.
To learn more about IBM's AI agents and how they can help your business, visit ibm.com/agents.
This July 4th, celebrate freedom from spills, stains, and overpriced furniture with Anabay, the only machine-washable sofa inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly pricing. Sofas start at just $699, making it the perfect time to upgrade your space. Anabay's pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and interchangeable slipcovers are made with high-performance fabric that's built for real life. You'll love the cloud-like comfort of hypoallergenic, high-resilience foam that never needs fluffing, and a durable steel frame that stands the test of time. With modular pieces, you can rearrange anytime. It's a sofa that adapts to your life. Now through July 4th, get up to 60% off site-wide at washablesofas.com. Every order comes with a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. If you're not in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping, no restocking fees, every penny back. Declare independence from dirty, outdated furniture. Shop now at washablesofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
It's AJ here, and I love summertime in Utah. Whether it's hitting the hills or just chilling out with friends, family, and neighbors, we are so lucky to live where we live. Now, have you heard what Sam's Club is doing? With locked-in summer value until July 22nd, prices are held on over 1,000 items, from paper plates to trash bags to sunscreen to ice cream, even apple pie. So you gotta join Sam's Club because locked-in summer value can help you save on all the things you need for a great summer. And you gotta have enough ice cream on hand for everybody, right? So stock up. Go sign up for a membership and join Sam's Club today at samsclub.com/join.
Come on, why is this taking so long? This thing is ancient.
Still using yesterday's tech? Upgrade to the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Ultra-light, ultra-powerful, and built for serious productivity with Intel Core Ultra processors, blazing speed, and AI-powered performance that keeps up with your business, not the other way around.
Whoa, this thing moves.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Win the tech search at Lenovo.com. Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, so you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device.
So you want to start a business. You
You might think you need a team of people and fancy tech skills, but you don't. You just need GoDaddy Aero. I'm Walton Goggins, and as an actor, I'm an expert at looking like I know what I'm doing, even when I don't. And I like the sound of starting my own business, Walton Goggins Goggle Glasses. But I'm an actor. I don't know what I'm doing. I needed help. GoDaddy Aero uses AI to create everything you need to grow a business. It'll make you a unique logo, create a custom website. It'll write social posts for you, and even set you up with a social media calendar. I didn't even realize I needed a social media calendar. GoDaddy Aero will take your idea that sounds good and make a business that looks like you know what you're doing. GoDaddy Aero can get your business up and running in minutes. You know what that sounds like? It sounds like a plan. Get started at GoDaddy.com/Aero. That's GoDaddy.com/AIRO.
Welcome back to Strange Things on the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network. I am your host, the Wizard of Weird, Joshua P. Warren, beaming into your wormhole brain from my studio in Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada, where every day is golden and every night is silver. Agiatato Zume. And if you happen to be near Las Vegas, you have to go take my haunted Boulder City Ghost and UFO tour. It's only about a 30-minute drive outside of Vegas, and I just recently updated the website with a bunch of videos from basically like YouTubers, influencer types who have taken the tour and done videos about it. HauntedBoulderCity.com. And now that we're getting into the busy season, you know, this would be the time to do it because we sell out frequently. You know, it's funny because, all right, my scariest experiences. I was talking to Dr. Mulder the other day, and I hate having telephone conversations. It's just, I don't know if it's probably because that I've just talked so much for a living for decades. But he and I had a great conversation. It was over 3 hours. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's also like a Gen X thing. I was looking the other day, and you know what Gen X supposedly is? Let's see, it says if you were born between the mid-1960s and the early 1980s, you're supposed to be some kind of, I guess that's what they call Gen X, and I was born in 1976, so I'm going to be 49 this year. Maybe it has something to do with that, I don't know. But yeah, we talked for hours, and it was one of those conversations, and it was like when we were done, we go, you know what, we should just get together and record ourselves having one of these conversations and make like a documentary out of it. What we talked about was this method that Dr. Mulder manifests. He'll take, it's called pumping chi. And at one point, I don't know if I still have this on my slide, and it told you how to pump chi. So here's the idea, like, okay, if you want to manifest a powerful ball of energy, you sit there and you relax and you put your two hands as close together without touching them. And then you bring them about 6 inches apart, and then you put them as close together as you can without touching, palm to palm, and then 2 inches apart, and you keep doing this until you start feeling this kind of like magnetic sensation. And it helps if you rub your hands together and get them stimulated. I'm doing it right now, as you can tell. And what happens is, imagine it as a ball of energy. And then once you have this ball of energy, then you can place that onto your wishing machine or your Tepaphone or whatever your manifestation device is. And he says that he does this all the time, and that's one of his keys to success. And one of the people that I met who made an impact on me when it came to generating all that was Grandmaster Tom Cameron, who lives in Chicago. So I believe the very first time I went to Chicago, and gosh, I was a pretty young fellow at that time. I was probably, certainly in my early 20s. I went to Chicago, and he was teaching me and other people how to create these kind of balls of chi and fire them at things. And we have been on television together. families, believe it or not, and Steve Harvey, and then I was there on a show with him for the History Channel where we were measuring him blasting these balls of energy. And so one time I was at his house and I was crashing. He was so nice, he let me crash in his bedroom. And I believe it again. It was the first time I'd gone to Chicago. And then so we had a pizza. He introduced me to Giordano's deep dish pizza. A lot of people would say it's more of a pie, whatever. Okay, if you've never had Giordano's, go try it out. And so so one afternoon I woke up. We'd had a long night, and I walked out to his parking lot, right? Because he kind of lived in like a complex, and there was a dumpster there, and I opened the dumpster to throw this pizza box away, and a raccoon jumped straight out of this dumpster right at my face. That may be the scariest thing that's ever happened to me, believe it or not. A raccoon jumping out of a dumpster. There was another occasion when I was growing up in Western North Carolina when I had a friend who had a pit bull, and one evening we were outside and that pit bull went, I don't know, he didn't like me for some reason. Most animals like me, but he went straight for my jewels. And if he had not had a good leash on that thing. And then one time I went to a lion habitat, and this lion saw me. That was here in Las Vegas. They have a lion habitat. And the lion ran up and started roaring at me. And you see, the scariest experiences in reality that I've had, just to be honest with you, have probably come from wild animals. You know, when I was a teenager, I went hiking one evening in the Blue Ridge Mountains, not far from Mount Pisgah in North Carolina. I was with a buddy, and I walked up on a black bear in the middle of the night, and that black bear, he or she or whatever it was, looked at me, and I looked at it, and just stood there, and then it turned around and ran off. And I had the same experience, similar experience, when I would camp at Brown Mountain, where the Brown Mountain Lights appear, because that's actually a black bear reserve, where I walked up on a black bear, and then a black bear would turn around and run off. And then, of course, you've probably heard me talk about that time that my wife Lauren and I, we weren't married yet, but we were living together, and we had this house way out in the countryside of West North Carolina, out in Alexander, North Carolina, and this black snake slithered up into my bed one day, and let me tell you, that was, you know, I don't want to tell that whole story again, but I mean, like, that was, I woke up and there was a black snake right there in my face, and this thing was, I don't know why, it was angry and it was hissing and striking at me. I disposed of that snake, and then a second one was right there behind it. So I've had a lot of these, you know, experiences. Well, I think that's what's scary. I think that wild animals are scary. Ghosts don't really scare me, to be honest with you. And for some reason, I've always felt comfortable being in the water. I mean, when I lived in Puerto Rico, I used to swim way out, sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning, way out into this harbor where all these boats were. And I wasn't afraid to do that. Never been afraid of men. Women, I think, are scarier than men, because, you know, a man will get up in your face, but a woman will just poison you. That's you know, I've had some nightmares. You know, as a matter of fact, I was told less than a week ago I was diagnosed with sleep apnea. So now I got to go have a CPAP. So I've had some pretty frightening nightmares. But you know, speaking of like animals, on Earth? Now think about that. Don't look it up. Don't cheat. What are the loudest animals on Earth? And then I have a story for you about this lady. She wrote me a really good question. She said, I have a haunted house. Well, look, stick around. I'm Joshua P. Warren. You're listening to Strange Things on the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network. I'll be back after these important messages.
Malcolm Gladwell here. I recently recorded the first episode of Smart Talks with IBM, where I learned how AI agents are joining AI assistants as a major productivity tool. Let's start with AI agents. AI agents can reason, plan, and collaborate with other AI tools to autonomously perform tasks for a user. Brian Bissell, an expert from IBM, gave me an example of how a college freshman might use an AI agent.
As a new student, you may not know, how do I do with my health and wellness issue? How many credits am I going to get for this given class? You could talk to someone and find out some of that, but maybe it's a little bit sensitive. You don't want to do that.
Bissell told me you could build an AI agent, a resource for new students that helps them navigate a new campus, register for classes, access the services they need, and even schedule on their behalf. It gives them more time to focus on their actual school.
We can see patterns can help employees and customers and users be more productive, automate workflows so they're not doing certain types of repetitive work over again, and streamlining their lives and making data more accessible to them 24 hours a day.
To learn more about IBM's AI agents and how they can help your business, visit ibm.com/agents.
This July 4th, celebrate freedom from spills, stains, and overpriced furniture with Anabay, the only machine-washable sofa inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly pricing. Sofas start at just $699, making it the perfect time to upgrade your space. Anabay's pet-friendly, stain-resistant, interchangeable slipcovers are made with high-performance fabric that's built for real life. You'll love the cloud-like comfort of hypoallergenic, high-resilience foam that never needs fluffing, and a durable steel frame that stands the test of time. With modular pieces, you can rearrange anytime. It's a sofa that adapts to your life. Now through July 4th, get up to 60% off site-wide at washablesofas.com. Every order comes with a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. If you're not in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping, no restocking fees, every penny back. Declare independence from dirty, outdated furniture. Shop now at washablesofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
It's AJ here, and I love the summertime in Utah. Whether it's hitting the hills or just chilling out with friends, family, and neighbors, we are so lucky to live where we live. Now, have you heard what Sam's Club is doing? With locked-in summer value until July 22nd, prices are held on over 1,000 items, from paper plates to trash bags to sunscreen to ice cream, even apple pie. So you gotta join Sam's Club because locked-in summer value can help you save on all the things you need for a great summer. And you gotta have enough ice cream on hand for everybody, right? So stock up. Go sign up for a membership and join Sam's Club today at samsclub.com/join.
In the heat of battle, your squad relies on you. Don't let them down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Dominate every match with next-level speed, seamless streaming, and performance that won't quit, so you can push your gameplay beyond performance with Intel Core Ultra processors for the next era of gaming. Upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E and maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search. Power up at Lenovo.com.
So you want to start a business. You might think you need a team of people and fancy tech skills, but you don't. You just need GoDaddy Aero. I'm Walton Goggins, and as an actor, I'm an expert at looking like I know what I'm doing, even when I don't. And I like the sound of starting my own business, Walton Goggins Goggle Glasses. But I'm an actor. I don't know what I'm doing. I needed help. GoDaddy Aero uses AI to create everything you need to grow a business. It'll make you a unique logo. It'll create a custom website. It'll write social posts for you and even set you up with a social media calendar. I didn't even realize I needed a social media calendar. GoDaddy Aero will take your idea that sounds good and make a business that looks like you know what you're doing. GoDaddy Aero can get your business up and running in minutes. You know what that sounds like? It sounds like a plan. Get started at GoDaddy.com/Aero. That's GoDaddy.com/AIRO.
It's like, fuck. It's really like that sad though.
Welcome back to Strange Things on the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal I'm host Joshua P. Warren, and this is the show where the unusual becomes usual. You know, I really want to take a moment to sincerely thank all of you who have been listening to this show for years. You support it in every way you can. You put the word out there, you go to the website, you buy things. Because, you know, ultimately, that's why, you know, sometimes I feel like I can do kind of a silly show where I don't have to talk about like some super heavy topic, because some of you are just like, hey, I'm along for the ride. And you've always been really friends in the ether. And because, you know, this is entertainment at the end of the day. I'm not a minister. I am not a doctor. I'm not a guru. I mean, I don't even have kids. I didn't have kids because I was like, I should not be a father. Just like, I don't feel like I'm qualified. This is entertainment. And if you've been, you know, sticking with this show for a long time and you're just along for the ride, then you know what? You're the only thing that makes this worthwhile for me. So thank you for doing that. And I do have, you know, a supernatural scary experience, but all right, what do you think? Let's get back to the... I could drag this out, but I'm just going to jump right into it. They say the loudest animal on Earth is a sperm whale. And, I mean, obviously a whale, it's going to be loud. But then I had to dig a little bit deeper, and I thought, well, okay, well, what's the loudest animal that's not in the water? And my guess was some kind of frog or some kind of like a little thing like that. Are you ready? It's a howler monkey. Oh. Animals are just so bizarre in so many ways, and you know, it's always surprising, isn't it? That's why I think that if there are aliens flying around here, most of the time they're probably instead out in outer space. Well, one of my experiences, and I won't spend too much time on this, ironically, just because I've talked about it before, is when I went to Myrtle's Plantation down there in, I guess it was St. Francisville, Louisiana, not too far from Baton Rouge. I was doing a television show. I was able to go down there a night or two before the crew arrived and stay by myself in this suite called the General David Bradford Suite. And then late at night, something started rapping on the door. And one of the things that I'm proud of is that you don't just have to listen to my stories and think they're yes, because I actually have videotaped a lot of stuff. Let's see here. I'm going right. I think it's okay. I'm at YouTube. Joshua P. Warren, alone in America's most haunted bedroom. Yep, that brings it up. Alone in America's most haunted bedroom. This was published 17 years ago. It has 167,000 views. And you can see that I was, in my opinion, I was communicating with an invisible, conscious, intelligent being when I was in this room. And I was the only person on the property that night, as it turned out. And, you know, what's always perplexed me is it's like, why is that scary? Because you would think that, you know, just because there's a ghost in your bedroom, that doesn't mean it's like a scary thing. But there's something I found inherently scary about the idea of sort of an invisible person or an invisible intelligence being there. And you realize it. I mean, you recognize it and you acknowledge it. And you go, okay, I'm not the only intelligent thing in this room. There's something else in here with me that's also intelligent and able to interact to some degree. And I don't know, why is that scary? I guess it's just, you know, that fear of the unknown. Just that it must just be that very general fear of the unknown. And I am sure that I've had other paranormal experiences. I'm like, this is one of those shows where it's like, as soon as I'm done recording, I'll be like, oh crap, I forgot to tell this story or that story. I mean, it's like, one time I went to this haunted house. It was a farm in South Carolina, and I believe something followed me back from that farm. And I was sitting in my office about 5 o'clock in the morning, and all of a sudden, the door to my office just blasted open, and this cold air came in, and the craziest thing was that instantly I had a boombox, and it turned on by itself, even though there were no batteries and it wasn't plugged into the wall. And the boombox turned on and started blaring some kind of insane music. And I looked, and it was one of those things where it's like, with my third eye, I was able to see that there was some kind of a horrible, dark entity in this room with me, and I just started cursing at it and saying every horrible thing I could say to it to try to get it out of there. And that worked. And then it turned around and left. So, again, I'm kind of just riffing with the show, but I do believe that, my scariest experiences in life have not come from animals. Or, excuse me, not come from ghosts. It's probably been animals. Because, I don't know, there's just something so so visceral about an animal, like, eating you. I guess, that makes sense, doesn't it? And when I do this show, I take a lot of notes about things that I just want to bring up. And, sometimes I just have an idea for just an interesting topic. Because the great thing about this show is that it's called Strange Things. And that means I can just talk about anything strange. It doesn't have to necessarily be paranormal stuff. And I got an email recently from Vance Pollock. And he said, are you aware of this phenomenon of anomalies in baptism photos? I said, no, I never heard of that. And he sent me, he started sending me pictures of people, because, I was raised, Southern Baptist style and all that, and to be honest with you, I've never been formally baptized, which is kind of odd. I don't know why that is. But for a lot of people, when they get baptized, it's a big, huge moment. And so apparently there's this whole field that I didn't know anything about, where when people get baptized, they get their picture taken. I guess it's kind of like a wedding photo or something like that. And then you get some kind of bizarre orb or ray of light or a ghostly figure in the background, or just something crazy like that. And so I just never even thought about that. So I'm tossing this out there. If you have access to what you think is a legitimate baptism anomaly in a picture, please, contact me. Just go to joshuapwarren.com and you'll scroll down. You can find my email address there. I'm easy to find. I'd like to kind of look at these things and see if there are any similarities. Nowadays, it's harder than ever to analyze photos. But anyway, we're coming up on a break. When we get back, so this lady called me and she said, I got this haunted house. She says it's so haunted. And I want to know if I just burn this darn thing down and start from scratch and build another house, is it still going to be haunted? Good question, isn't it? So we'll get into that and a lot more when we come back. I'm Joshua P. Warren. You're listening to Strange Things on the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network, and I will be right back.
Malcolm Gladwell here. I recently recorded the first episode of Smart Talks with IBM, where I learned how AI agents are joining AI assistants as a major productivity tool. Let's start with AI agents. AI agents can reason, plan, and collaborate with other AI tools to autonomously perform tasks for a user. Brian Bissell, an expert from IBM, gave me an example of how a college freshman might use an AI agent. As a new student, you may not know, how do I do with my health and wellness issue? How many credits am I going to get for this given class? You could talk to someone and find out some of that, but maybe it's a little bit sensitive. You don't want to do that. Bissell told me, you could build an AI agent, a resource for new students that helps them navigate a new campus, register for classes, access the services they need, and even schedule appointments on their behalf, which in turn buys them more time to focus on their actual schoolwork.
We can see patterns of how agents and assistants can help employees and customers and end users be more productive, automate workflows so they're not doing certain types of repetitive work over and over again, and streamlining their lives and making data more accessible to them 24 hours a day.
To learn more about IBM's AI agents and how they can help your business, visit ibm.com/agents.
This July 4th, celebrate freedom from spills, stains, and overpriced furniture with Anabay, the only machine washable sofa inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly pricing. Sofas start at just $699, making it the perfect time to upgrade your space. Anabay's pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and interchangeable slip covers are made with high-performance fabric that's built for real life. You'll love the cloud-like comfort of hypoallergenic, high-resilience foam that never needs fluffing, and a durable steel frame that stands the test of time. With modular pieces, you can rearrange anytime. It's a sofa that adapts to your life. Now through July 4th, get up to 60% off site-wide at washablesofas.com. Every order comes with a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. If you're not in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping, no restocking fees, every penny back. Declare independence from dirty, outdated furniture. Shop now at washablesofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
It's AJ here, and I love summertime in Utah. Whether it's hitting the hills or just chilling out with friends, family, and neighbors, we are so lucky to live where we live. Now, have you heard what Sam's Club is doing? With locked-in summer value until July 22nd, prices are held on over 1,000 items, from paper plates to trash bags to sunscreen to ice cream, even apple pie. So you gotta join Sam's Club because locked-in summer value can help you save on all the things you need for a great summer. And you gotta have enough ice cream on hand for everybody, right? So stock up. Go sign up for a membership and join Sam's Club today at samsclub.com/join.
Come on, this is taking so long. This thing is ancient.
Still using yesterday's tech? Upgrade to the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Ultra-light, ultra-powerful, and built for serious productivity with Intel Core Ultra processors, blazing speed, and AI-powered performance that keeps up with your business, not the other way around.
Whoa, this thing moves.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Win the tech search at Lenovo.com. Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, so you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device.
So you want to start a business. You might think you need a team of people and fancy tech skills, but you don't. You just need GoDaddy Aero. I'm Walton Goggins, and as an actor, I'm an expert at looking like I know what I'm doing, even when I don't. And I like the sound of starting my own business, Walton Goggins Goggle Glasses. But I'm an actor. I don't know what I'm doing. I needed help. GoDaddy Aero uses AI to create everything you need to grow a business. It'll make you a unique logo. It'll create a custom website. It'll write social posts for you and even set you up with a social media calendar. I didn't even realize I needed a social media calendar. GoDaddy Aero will take your idea that sounds good and make a business that looks like you know what you're doing. GoDaddy Aero can get your business up and running in minutes. You know what that sounds like? It sounds like a plan. Get started at GoDaddy.com/Aero. That's GoDaddy.com/AIRO.
Back out on the track.
Welcome back to the final segment of this edition of Strange Things on the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network. I am your host, Joshua P. Warren. I just thought of another scary thing. When I was a teenager, one time my girlfriend and I went to an amusement park, and we were on one of those rides that kind of looks like a big pirate ship that swings back and forth, and for some reason, right when it got upside down position, it stopped. I don't know how it defied gravity. So I got to hang upside down for a long time. I mean, it may have been as long as 30 minutes, to the point where like grease and oil and everything was running down out of this ride all over our clothes. I don't want to say where that happened because I mean, I trust me, I remember it. But
I don't want to get like a lawsuit for saying something about somebody, but I mean, afterward though, I mean, when they finally got us down, we of course went to the office and they apologized and they wrote us a check. It was not that much though. I mean, it was a few $100s, and gave us new clothes and everything. And so if that happened to me today, I'd be on the phone with my lawyer so fast. I would not have signed the settlement, but anyway. Hey, I talked about this raccoon that jumped out of this dumpster in Chicago. Here's a good question for you. Do you think that raccoons are more related to dogs or cats?
I like that light.
Well, think about it for a second.
Never noticed it before.
Is a raccoon more related to a dog or a cat?
Where you're crossing.
Well, it turns out that, according to scientists, they are more related to dogs. Of course, they're not dogs or cats. Raccoons are part of this family. Oh boy, it's one of those words. Procyonidae, which includes ringtails and anyway, they're more closely related to bears and weasels. Odd creatures, huh? How about this? Now that we're talking about trivia, how do you spell potato? Remember Dan Quell? He was struggling with that. So try to spell potato right now. See if you can figure it out. Well, it's spelled Potato, and there's no E on the end. And do you think a potato is a vegetable or something different? Well, the answer is yes, it is a vegetable. It's a starchy, tuberous vegetable native to the Americas. You see, this is what I do for fun all day. I just sit around and look up ridiculous stuff like this. I got an email from this woman. Hey! And she said, I have a haunted house. And she said, if I tear this thing down and rebuild it, will the new house also be haunted? And so, you know what? You'd think that would be a head scratcher, but for me, it really wasn't much of one, because I said,